Well, hey, thank you guys. It's awesome to be connecting with you. Welcome to our Member of Vision celebration event. Thank you guys for being here. Who's excited to see what the Lord's going to be doing over this next year? I am just so grateful for what He's already done in the last year and just seeing how He's worked in so many of you as our members and so many of our just our fellow teammates throughout ministries and just the people who call Olive Branch home. Being members, you guys kind of get an opportunity to get the preview event and some of the pieces for where we're headed. Obviously, you're going to need your annual report. If you didn't get this, would you let us know? Put your hand up real quick. We would love you to have it. We're going to reference it a few times. It's going to also give you information pertaining to basically, they don't have the, if you want, you can get one digitally on your with a QR code there too, so either way. And we're going to be kind of dealing with this booklet a little bit here today. And so I'm going to not wax eloquent too long, but I'm just going to let you guys know, I don't like slides. I preach with slides, and I don't like slides. And doing this with slides is hard too, because, man, I just want to I just want to go off the cuff and just tell you guys what's on, what I think God is doing and what's going on. But I'm going to go with the slides here, so we're going to kind of step into this together. So it starts with this conversation, and this is going to be really hard. Jacob, can we get the slides down here? Because I don't want to turn around and read my slides. And so otherwise, I'm not going to use them. So there's an adage that I've ran into recently while talking about and reading about vision. And it's a critical one for us as a congregation, and that is that when we talk today, that I want you to hear my heart when I say vision is not a prophecy. And what I mean by that is that there is a difference between what we're painting is where we desire God to take us and where we hope God will lead us, and if we're engaged where we believe we can go. But it is not a prophecy in the sense that, hey, this is exactly the way that it's going to work out. And the reason I bring that up is because you're going to see some adjustments. Last year we laid out kind of like a 3-year vision plan, and some of that has to adjust because, to be honest, what I want to do is I want to say, you see that mountain up there at that top, the Santiago Peak? Yeah, we want to go there, right? We want to, somewhere up in that distance, we want to find the top and the peak of that mountain. And as we start off on our journey, we kind of roughly know we got to go in that direction. But as we're traveling that way, we don't know all the terrain. We don't know all the locations. And you can come around the corner and suddenly the path that you were walking on is washed out. It's completely gone. And now you're like, we got to go this way. Or it's going to zig or zag in a way that you never imagined. Just ask Bill. Bill, can you tell 5 stories about it real quick? Because he'll knock it out for us in the scout troop. And it's just true. You're going to walk into a situation where that vision is going to need to adjust. And so, we paint 3-year visions, 2-year visions, these kinds of things. The ultimate picture doesn't change. The ultimate direction doesn't change. Our mission is still the same, and that is simply that we are aiming at, we're already on the Share Awards. Woohoo! I don't know where we are now, so we're just going to go with my notes. Yes! We good? All right. Will I try it again? Yeah, there we go. And our mission still is the same. We desire to love, to live, and to share Christ, and to make Him known wherever we go. We're not going to stop doing that. That's the aim. That's what God is providing us energy for. But when we're taking that, we're crystallizing, and we're going to bring it into a focus and aim us in a direction. And again, that aim has to fit into the ultimate mission God has given to the church. The Matthew 28 passage where He tells us to go into all the nations and make disciples. We also know that there's the Acts 1:8 version. And go ahead and click forward for me on that as you guys are working on it up there. So there we go. And the Acts 1:8 is basically, you're going to receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you. You'll be my witnesses in Jerusalem and all of Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. I love this passage because it reminds us that evangelism begins locally and flows globally. It is both oriented. It doesn't just stay in one place. It's going to grow. And look, when we think of Jerusalem, remember the disciples weren't from Jerusalem. Where were they from, everybody? You can say it. They were from Galilee. Say it with me. Galilee. There's just going to be participation points. Here we go. And so when you see they're from Galilee, they are connecting not to where they're from. They are connecting to where they are. And you find yourself here now at Olive Branch. We find ourselves here in El Cerrito, in Tenisca Valley, in Corona, in Norco. We live in places, and I want us to remember that as we work this out, we are working where we are, and it's spreading from there into the regions around us and ultimately to the ends of the earth. And the way we do that is we're going to be like Christ. We're aiming to go as he went, to integrate, connect, talk to people, present Christ. Talk about this in service, so I don't need to expand on it. But this has led me to a larger dream. I've been in ministry here at Olive Branch. This is our 35th anniversary. This is pretty amazing. And some of you have been here longer than me, and it's good to see. Wasn't it good to see Ike? I just really appreciate all of you who are here today, who have been part of the history of this church. It actually means a ton. And I know you guys love this place, so thank you for all your faithfulness. Thank you for all that you guys do. And in this, what I really am aiming at is to help us understand that over the last few years, since COVID whacked a lot of pastors upside the head. It made a mess out of a lot of guys. And one of the things that made a mess out of was the fact that we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what happened in the church. We didn't know why churches were having people leave in all kinds of directions. It was confusing. It was frustrating. My diagnosis came down to basically a couple things, and that is there was something off in our discipleship methodology. Is there something needing to be shifted in our discipleship as a whole? And as we began to look at that and look at relational concepts and other things, I also began to realize that there was this classic thing that we used to joke about, and that was like, hey, we'll let Crossroads save him, we'll disciple him. And this was kind of this like attitude, like let the big churches reach people and we'll let the little churches, disciple the people because they go deep and we go wide. And that was something that always bugged me. And so a dream started to form. It's a larger dream. It's a bigger, and I call it a dream in the sense that it's pretty far out there. It may not even be in my lifetime, but the prayer and the hope is that we would see an entire area in the 9115 corridor, this area that we call home, from all the way down in Elsinore, all the way up into East Vale and out. It would find itself unified around the gospel. Not around a worship night, not around some kind of unity effort where we're all going to sing songs and pray together. Prayer is perfect, it's needed. But I'll be honest, one of the oddest things is to try to get a bunch of Protestants together to do worship. Have you ever seen that? It doesn't work real well because you got your charismatics running down the aisles while your Lutherans are going, what is going on? Like, where's the liturgy? And but what we can agree with is that Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, who's died upon the cross for our sins, who's risen from the dead to give us new life. And if the churches could lock around the gospel and with an intention to bring the message to our entire area, along with not copying each other's ministries, but endorsing one another's ministries, taking Zoe and just pouring into it so it's growing passionately and continuing forward, that we're engaging in the various churches together. And so that's a bigger vision. And so as you back away from, I really have three phases in mind for Olive Branch to be a part of this, to be a catalyst and initiate these things. But before any of that can even begin, we have to go back to the first step. And that first step for me, and what I want to present, and I don't have this on a slide, but I'm going to put it in these terms. I believe Olive Branch has been called to be the premier disciple-making church in Southern California, if not the nation. What I mean by that is I really believe he's calling us to take the wisdom and the wealth of knowledge that's found in our church, the depth of what we have is in our leadership and in our teams, and begin to multiply into the people around you at such a way that people are discipled relationally, spiritually, and in a depth in which you, yourself, in this room would know that you've trained someone and you know that person you trained could train someone. And that you wouldn't stop. It would just continue to grow. When that's happening, we are being a church. When that's occurring, we are really beginning to develop people who are going to make a difference in our world. Now, that only happens when we really start to engage what we call that love, live, share concept. Now I'm going to start with share because one of the adjustments I saw that needs to be made in discipleship is we can only do two things. Say it with me. Churches only do two things. That is outreach, say outreach, and discipleship. Do you know what the beginning of discipleship is? Outreach. Do you know what the end of outreach is? Discipleship. Do you know what ends outreach or ends discipleship? Outreach. It's what we call the spiral. that you love, live, share, and spiral back. It's outreach to discipleship, that those disciples are reaching out, they're making disciples who are reaching out, they're making disciples that you're loving, you're living for Christ, you're sharing Christ. When that happens, when we're really seriously doing that, not only will you make a disciple, then you will impact the area of your culture that God has placed you in, the sphere of culture that He has laid you into, even if it's a 1%, if it's your family, it's the church, whether it's your business, whether it's the arts, He gives you something, and it's a one step forward. And every person we bring in who's discipled and makes that change, then you begin to see major impact. Well, that's going to lay out this year where our efforts and our initiatives are going to be aiming at, first of all, the expansion of the gospel. Gospel expansion is critical. People are moving into our area, and they're bringing massive amounts of opportunities. If you look at it, Corona grew a little bit. Temescal Valley didn't. Elsinore blew up. Menifee's exploding. And what's interesting about Temescal Valley is it's about to grow again. I could have ran around and taken tons and tons of photos. How many of you guys live down in the valley with me? You know they are building houses. They're not done at Terramore yet. They're not done at Sycamore Creek. They have just built another thing across the road then. And they're doing all that without expanding the roads. Woohoo! And so this is just a picture of our new movers that are coming into the area. And so you've got all these dots just around us that are people who are new movers. Did you know the number one reason people are de-churching in America today is because they moved? They move, they lose their church, they lose their community, they disconnect. And the number one thing that people who are Christians need to have is a place to connect. Otherwise, they don't have anywhere to help disciple and bring it together. And so not only do people who move into new territories not only feel completely lost, they need new community. And why not us? Why not be that community? Why not be the opportunity that we go in, connecting them not only with the gospel, with Jesus and with His church, so that we see this opportunity. Now, our aim, as we said last year, is to bring the gospel into every home in the El Cerrito and Temescal Valley. And I believe this will not only help change the valley, it changes and change our area and change South Corona on. When you do that, you start to change our nation because we're the number one move-out spot too, by the way. People come to Riverside to move out of Riverside and go to the rest of the nation, and they're coming from LA and then commuting back to LA for work. They're coming from Orange County and commuting back to Orange County for work. There's a lot of options and a lot of power when we are engaging in the opportunity of bringing that gospel. Now, last year, these are some of the efforts that we put in, just so you guys know what's going on. Last year, we had, and you'll see a few of these, we had our Derby race. How many guys were involved in the Derby? Can I just say thank you? That was amazing. If you weren't here, this stage was covered with this gigantic loop-de-loop boxcar derby racers, and it was nuts. You got to see Jacob watch kids nearly start crying because their car didn't make it around the loop, and it's like boom, and Jacob's like, "That was amazing!" And it's like kids are like, "Oh, okay, cool." It was really, really neat. And we saw a lot of connection with a lot of the community. We had our fall festival. Thank you guys for rocking that. We had, I think we increased, how many people was in our database of that just from that one, 400 or so. It was a large number of people we captured and we were able to connect with. And we just are excited to see how that continues to develop and grow. We're focused on how that continues. We did our Christmas celebration. We've had our various men's and women's events. Guys, we're seeing the things rolling out and continue to move forward. And so here are a few more things. We had 26 baptisms this year, which we're praising God for that one. We're praying for more. We've saw 266 first-time guests just in the services. That doesn't include all of the guests at first time that came from whether it is our outreach events. That's just people that are invited into our services. And so that's been a good thing. Those are people that we're continuing to connect with and develop. You notice that we adjusted things like doing the 5 minutes. We had three new families that we met this morning just in first service. So this continues to be an option of connection. We had 790 people we added to our database. So now, let me explain the difference here. There's been an adjustment since COVID that I'm kind of give some report differences. You used to be able to go, "This is our attendance," and we'd be like, "Yay!" And the problem with attendance is that we now have online, we now have in person, and then you have absent. And not all absent are online, and not all absent are in person. When I say absent, I mean some people are sick and they don't come in here, but they watch online. Some people are online onlys and they don't come in because they live in Hawaii. We have a few people who are living in some different states who call Olive Branch home. That's cool. We want to figure out how to help them continue to develop community. But sometimes those people who are here or here in the sense of like present in this position, present at home, aren't present. They might be out on vacation, they may be gone. And so we have no idea what that number is. At this point, the global kind of population of the church can be a large question mark. And so what we do is we've been focusing on, well, who's willing to receive our emails? Who's willing to receive our communication? In fact, much of like a lot of communications world works in this way. Last year, we added 790 plus people who said, yeah, we're willing to connect and receive communication. That puts our database number somewhere in the 4,000s. So there are roughly 4,000 people around us that are willing to receive emails and communication from Olive Branch and be willing to, hey, show up at something. That's why I say you could have some people who are literally showing up once a month. And they wouldn't know that I said it because they missed the 4 weeks we were on that series, and they're coming next week. And so that's the kind of the reality we're working in. But we can change that reality, and we can continue to press forward as we see these things move forward. And it happens as we engage. It happens as we step in. And so what I want to do is just highlight one of those situations, one of those people who have done that. And what we like to do, and if you're new to this, we like to say, this isn't to toot their horn. This is just to honor and celebrate what people are doing in our church individually and in their ministry and with their giftedness. And so we like to just say, hey, we have a love award, a live award, a share award. It's just kind of like a way to honor. And so this is our share award, and Eric's going to present this.
This is mic 1. Test.
All right.
All right. So like Greg said, we love to honor you as a church as we get into the Great Commission. That's ultimately what our mission statement is all about, is love, live, and sharing Christ. And this person that I want to bring up today has been a part of sharing Christ to our local community in so many ways. We just saw the Fall Festival numbers up here, the Pinewood Derby. We see it through James Project. We see it through his service here at the church. And so I would like to call up Steve Tao. So like I said, Steve has been such a big part of what we do. With James Project, he was encouraging us to reach a neighbor of his, to interact with his community, his neighbors. He's been a part of the Fall Festival. And so, Steve, we can't thank you enough for all that you do and the way that you engage the church here. And we know your heart is to share the gospel with as many people as possible. And so thank you for all that you do here.
It's been an honor to get to just to work with Steve in just so many different capacities, watching as he's just helped out in all different departments. Again, thank you, Steve. It's been incredible. And as we think about that, again, it's an encouragement that not to say, now hopefully that's not a discouragement. Some of you are like, are you going to put me on stage? No way, I'm not doing this anymore. No, that the aim is to celebrate what God's doing amongst us and in our church and in men like Steve and so many of us. And so this is critical because in this next year, one of the things that I really want to encourage is the reality, and I don't know what my next slide is, so we'll see where this goes yet, is that as we step out into this area, I said, hey, we want to bring the gospel to every home in the Temescal Valley in El Cerrito. And then we proceeded to invite you guys to consider picking up that Bless Every Home app. And some of you have done that. In fact, we've had so many lights. You'll see the reports actually out in the middle of our service. If you want to watch our slides long enough, it'll show you kind of roughly where things are at. And we want to continue to invite you to do that. It's been interesting to pray over my neighbors. You kind of have their names, opportunities then to try to connect as you do that. Many people, I know that, I think of Rick and Nita, you guys are like constantly praying and know their names, and they're connecting with people in their neighborhoods. We've been using these, basically, we prayed for you cards, and I got one, so it was cool. Somebody in my neighborhood was praying for me. And the idea is that we're just saying, hey, we prayed for you. But more critically, we're working on dividing up actually all the areas in here from El Cerrito and Temescal Valley over the next 2 years. And we're going to purposefully invite us as a church to take something. We're still working on what kind of greeting box, some kind of welcome, some kind of thing that we are going to literally knock on every door that we can in the whole valley. We're going to do this. And that means it's going to take us to say, hey, my small group's going to jump in on this one. Or, you know what, hey, we're going to step in, we're going to engage, and we're going to bring this message to people. Now, that may be that you're just bringing the welcome pack and just praying over somebody, but that's all we want to really do. We ultimately want to just let people know that we exist, we love you, we care about you. This is our spiritual duty. I mean, if you think about it this way, God placed property here, he placed property there, and as you heard, Ike's dream and vision fits right in with what I always knew it was. He used to tell me, we'll do everything but sin to reach this valley. You know, that was always what he told me. And I love that aim. He's just like, he wanted us to go. He's still calling us and praying us in that direction. I'm calling us and praying us in that direction. And so we're talking about you might see a booth out there, and it may cost a little money, and saying, hey, we want people to donate, hey, so much money for 10 boxes, then we're going to get them out to those homes or whatever. We're working on the exact details, but we will have the areas mapped out and be calling on our small groups and on our teams and on each other to bring that message. And you're like, I'm scared. I am too. But what an opportunity to walk in faith. And, somebody who I knew was scared, he stepped up and started doing it. And that's Stephen Oldham. You've seen him preach. He wouldn't say he was scared necessarily, but he was concerned, like, this isn't going to go well. And lo and behold, he's come to the place where he's like inviting people to go with him to see how easy it is and how lonely people are, that they need someone just to come up and be willing to say, hi, we care about you, can we pray for you? And we would love for you to be a part of our community. Right now, community is a critical problem. We'll get into that in a minute, but that loneliness is something that we can deal with, not by letting some staff or some other group, no, by us and our friends taking responsibility, say, we're going to step in and love these people. And I look forward to seeing what God's going to do in that. I believe that he is going to enable us to do that. We're going to do a service week where we're going to, I don't quite know all the details yet, but I know by the end of the summer, we're going to have a service week where we're calling our church out, and you're going to have all kinds of opportunities just to go and connect and serve Corona in a way of saying, look, Olive Branch loves our city. The reason you do that is there's a proverb. It's better to have a good name than many riches. You know that one? I'd rather have Olive Branch have a great name in the community than anything else. Like, if we're serving people and Jesus Christ's name is known through Olive Branch, we are doing our job. And that's why we go out and we connect and we do service projects. We do these kinds of things and continue to train. And we've got some further training things that are going to come up. You've got Share, the Share Keystone, and that's available. But we're trying to also give other avenues and other aspects for your small group and you guys to feel more confident to continue to share your faith. And so really, if you look at this interior part and you really want to take a look, the budget sections in this that come down to our outreach are really going to be connected to everything from our communications, our local, global outreach to, and I wanted you to consider this, that the missions home, all these other things that you see on here, do you realize that every ministry we do has an outreach side to it? Our marriage ministry, when you hear announcements, that is an opportunity for you to connect a marriage that you know to Christ through a marriage event, through the family week, through some other avenue that we're presenting. And so when you think about announcements, think two sides. Do I want to go to the men's breakfast And then the second side is, do I know somebody who needs to go to the men's breakfast or women's thing, or the engraved night? Or is there somebody that I know should go to this derby, or should I go? So think in those terms, and you'll begin to see that there are people around you that may take you up on an invitation to an event or an invitation to some kind of community group that otherwise wouldn't. And so when you see this, our main aim is, again, through the local outreach, through these missions and ministry opportunities. And so that's the main focus there. Now, the second venture then is, say we do this. Even if in the next 3 months we begin to invite an entire area of our city and come check out Corona, come check out Olive Branch, come check out what's going on, then guess what? That's not going to get us much closer to becoming the premier discipleship group. We got to train ourselves to be disciples who make disciples. And so I want to challenge you to begin to ask yourself, who do I know that I could say has been following behind me, that I've been pouring into, that I could look back and say, the things that I've known, I've given to them. Because that's what discipleship looks like. And then who are they pouring into? And so this has been a critical aspect to our life, because last year, just attendance-wise, we did grow 34%. That was a pretty big year. There was a lot of new kids, a lot of new families. Some of you have been new in this last year. And so if you can imagine that if you see even more people from inviting people around the neighborhood, man, that's a lot of people to disciple. We got to be ready for it. We've got to be engaged with it. We've got to be ready to continue forward in not only just class ways, but also in one-on-one connections. The deepest relational connection you can get is that one-on-one individual discipleship. It answers questions, and some people can't do that. Well, we have the entire track, and last year we kind of finished off and developed that track out. In fact, after I have the 34% growth there, 160 of us took steps along on what we called the spiral, the Love, Live, Share spiral. Next has been developed, and that's going to be coming out soon, but that you'll be hearing more about that, and that's really an aim for all of you, probably in this room, who've been through the Love, Live, and Share. Next is designed for you to step back and go, all right, well, what's next for me? I believe that you are all capable of designing and seeing what your own spiritual step should be for next. Next is designed to help you step back, do an evaluation, and set yourself a goal and trajectory in your spiritual development. And then we can help provide you the directions and the pieces to begin to move forward. And so this idea on the spiral is to just continue moving forward. We can bring people along with us. Maybe you go again and you invite that brand new believer. But I imagine we do baptisms on Father's Day, and there's like a line of guys or ladies, depending on who's getting baptized, going, I want that one. That one's mine. I want to disciple that one. Get out of my way. And you're like, it'd be awesome. Let's fight over the disciples. Let's do this. This would be a blast. We'll do like a baseball trading day and put out the names up. Like, and you've been picked by, anyway. I just love the idea, though, that we can continue forward. Last year, we had 37 small groups. That's 350 group members gathering together in smaller units, continuing to study the Word of God and understand more deeply what it means to love Christ and walk with Christ. And so, we're actually gonna continue to develop that. This year, we're moving our launch place away from the beginning of school to the beginning of the new year. Some of that is because we believe that we can see more of a generative effect at the beginning of the new year. A lot of churches have been seeing better effects, and we also feel like it's helpful for you guys to get your feet under you as school restarts. And starting with a new group, sometimes that doesn't always feel like that just adds the crazy instead of helping out. And so if you have a group, we invite you to keep going, keep pressing forward. We're going to adjust and move some of that to the next year, but we love our small groups. We want to see them continue to develop, and we want to continue to help hone so the discipleship goes even further. In fact, we have some big, exciting stuff going on in our academy, and we're excited about what God's doing in the academy. Last year, we saw some pretty big changes, and they were kind of I'll be honest, they were a little scary at first, but we have seen just some incredible development and some incredible move forward. Now, we're having to unfortunately say goodbye to one of our junior high grades this year because just couldn't get enough in there. But at the same time, Joelle and and Karen have been able to step up into the into their interim site administrators, and they're knocking it out of the park. They're just doing amazing. So, is Karen or Joel, was you in here? I saw Karen earlier, but I didn't. If you see them, just let them know, thank you. They have personally been able to help so many of our teachers and our aides to continue to feel like they've been heard and directed, and we're working on a principle, and so be praying for that. We're still looking through that process, and we are seeing some pretty incredible pieces. You can find information on where our school is at, and where it's. I believe it's at this point we have 155 people who have already signed up to be at Olive Branch School, and that's I think we're only 19 away from being what we're aimed at, and that's pretty good at this time of the year. So we're praising God for that. Our preschool is just filled up. It's doing super good. Yeah, that's a good statement. And I just love that we're seeing such health and vibrancy as the teachers are excited. They're coming up with ideas. They're engaging in some pretty incredible ways. And so, again, that when our school is doing well, that just continues to connect us to families who are passionate about Olive Branch. And some of you started the school and you found your way into the church, and we love that you're a part of the family. And we want to continue to see even more people do that. And so next year, we're looking at continuing on that spiral with the next, something else that my wife, Tressa, and I launched this year. We did a little soft launch, so it's not been talked about, but it's going to slowly begin to grow over the next few years, is what I call the deep end of the pool. And we're calling it currently our Worldview Training Institute. If you've ever wanted to go deeper, if you've ever wanted to kind of go I want a little bit more than maybe I've done the love, live, and share. I'm really gifted in teaching. I want to see maybe if I could go a step further in my Bible study ability or these kinds of things. We're slowly beginning to open up classes and coursework to let you guys begin to go a step deeper. The goal is to really help you grow your Christian worldview out in the area that you're at. I ran a worldview course for a few weeks and got pretty good reviews. We'll see how that goes the second time. And but what the goal is to help you guys to dive into a deeper form, so that then you begin to move into, hey, okay, in my sphere of culture, in my world of education, maybe it's in my world of business, or maybe I am in the government sector, or whatever you find yourself. How do I really live this out? What do I really do? And the Worldview Training Institute is going to be designed to slowly begin to build out the rest of that discipleship, so that wherever you're at, you're able to kind of take a step, take a drink, see that. And if God's calling you off to seminary, or God's calling you off to one of the colleges, then you'd see that, oh man, this is right. But I really believe that it's the church's first job to give you the taste and understanding of your Christian worldview, and you don't have to go spend $30,000 to $60,000 to go get that basic Christian understanding of things. And so that's really what we're starting to provide and develop in there, along with some one-on-one discipleship training tools we're looking at a card deck concept, which I'm really interested in, and we got some really exciting stuff that we'll be rolling out. But all that being said, as kind of laying these kind of pieces forward and helping us, that means we are the ones, again, who are going to be stepping in to that. And so I'm going to invite up at this point Justin, who's going to grab who's going to tell us, is it you, Justin? Oh no, I jumped. Nick. Is Nick in here? Where's Nick? There's Nick. Nick, welcome Nick up. He's got our next honor. Oh, is it? He turned it off on you. Can you speak up? You can yell.
Testing.
All right.
I thought I was having to go back in the military and use my big boy voice. Well, the Love Christ Award was an easy and obvious choice for my nomination. Alyssa McConnell serves in multiple ministries at Olive Branch. You've probably seen her on the worship team, but she's also a vital member of the youth team. Alyssa has been the most reliable volunteer on the youth ministry team over this past year. She attends almost every service on Sundays and Wednesdays. She serves at almost every event. She leads students on the worship team for the youth team. and she's usually the earliest to arrive every Wednesday before youth services even begin. When Alyssa was considering serving in youth ministry, she had her hesitations, just like everybody who serves on the youth ministry team. I know I was hesitant when I was first asked to serve in youth ministry for the first time. After we had a conversation, she made the decision to join the team, and I'm so glad she did. Alyssa was the perfect person to connect with specific groups of students that needed a person with her unique gifts, talents, and her special personality. She has been a huge blessing to the students and to our team. Alyssa, you are deserving of all the recognition and honor of this award. I'm certain that you will be lavished with crowns and rewards in eternity for all that you do for God's kingdom. Thank you for everything you do for this church.
Going back to my sermon, I can tell you that Alyssa's commitment and her family's commitment, it rubs off. It being part of the Vital family, just it infuses it into the family. It's by Ethan and so many. It's cool to watch our families, you guys just to step in the way that you are. So thank you. And so, look, when we see people discipling, as that begins to build, we're going to realize that there's a little bit more that needs to go on. You see, this is the tag. When I say that vision isn't a prophecy, we said in 3 years, hey, we are going to be down at that property with the stuff. And we're like, yes, that's our aim. We are aiming at getting down to that property. I'm trying to get exact dates and stuff down for now. And at this point, what I really want to challenge us, though, is to consider that one of the things we noticed that we got to tack on, we got to kind of take an adjustment in our vision, is the sudden just growth in the loneliness factor. Surgeon General has been laying out all kinds of information. In fact, several years ago, England had already laid out a loneliness minister, which was, I was like, that sounds like the worst job on the planet. So I'm I'm lonely. As like minister of loneliness. And like, that's what they called it. So sounds weird. They're talking about a loneliness czar in the United States to fight loneliness. Guys, the answer to loneliness is found right here in the church. It's found in Jesus Christ, found in being a family and being a community. And we realize we need to redevelop community. With the consideration that people are only coming roughly on average about once every month, you begin to realize the problem isn't with like what the services are like, and the problem isn't with the people. The problem is people don't know that they're welcome, and they don't know that how much it can actually fill that tank back up from feeling lonely. And so we want to continue to redevelop that. Now, some of that means that community comes in several forms. One, it comes in a leadership structure form. If you don't have, like I always tell our staff, hey, look, staff plus growth equals burnout. Like if you all you got is staff doing a bunch of stuff and people start coming, and it's just going to kill your staff off. And so it requires leadership teams. It requires the giftedness God has put through all of the church, because staff members are just members of the church who are gifted to equip the rest of the church to enable you guys to do the works of ministry and discipleship together. And when we see this, then that means that, we have leadership. Now, one of the things we've done last year is that we added on some new elders. Jack and Rick and Scott are the newest elders on our team. And Rick's back there in the back. How's it going? And Scott, you saw him this morning. He's the basketball coach. And so, no, and Jack is currently visiting his daughter out in, I think it's New Hampshire, somewhere out there on the East Coast. And so they've been vital in helping us making decisions and continuing to evaluate policy and vision and direction. And I just want to thank them, and I want to thank Danny and just for all the hard work that they've been putting in this last year. That's been a lot. Scott's had some heavy stuff to lift, so thank you. And so and Rick is deeply involved in a lot of these other things you're going to see as we kind of jump into it from this next thing, our coffee shop. You've heard a lot about that over the years. You've seen, and it's taken up some parking spaces that took some people off. It's fun. But what we're trying to do is show you guys that it's on its way. In fact, we're seeing the development of this. It should sometime, I'll say by the end of the summer. How's that? So by the end of the summer, we should see it up and engaged and beginning to run. And so the goal there is not just, let's have a coffee shop. No, the picture, again, is to give a space for discipleship, to give a space to invite and connect, to give a space for further hangout on Sunday, for development, also vision for what God could be doing down at the Temescal, at the Trilogy property area, because really that would be part of the anchor piece is that coffee shop there with the large out hanging. Now, in addition to this, though, we also saw some growth and some fixing of our facilities. For community, facilities are important. Like, you want to hang out in, like, a place with ripped up furniture and all those things. It doesn't feel comfortable. It's not going to be a place you want to hang out in. Community, however, is vital, especially when we have a lot of young children at our church. We are a child-heavy church. We got a lot of kids. And that's a praise God kind of thing. And so we've been working, and there have been some amazing donations and amazing care with the school and the church together to redevelop our playgrounds. And you've seen some of that. And it's been just an additional aid and help. You've seen what's gone on in our children's building last year, which was incredible transformation of that room. And I'll tell you what, it's fun when kids come for their first time. They come out and they go, I can't wait to come back. That helps facilitate community. It enables us to get to know one another when we see each other over and over and over again. In addition to that, we're continuing to push on the Trilogy stuff. Again, that's your picture of kind of that connection and coffee side, be an outdoor discipleship venue in which we want to see everything from a kind of a minor version of what's going on here to enable us to see the area of that Trilogy area have an opportunity, and I don't mean Trilogy as the homes, but I mean like the Temescal Valley area, have a place where, hey, we can go connect, we can go there, bring a friend, not willing to drive through the traffic or whatever, but we can go there, Elsinore, those kinds of things. It allows us to make room for South Corona in here, and as we continue to develop those two pieces together, we're looking at how does that all work out? We're getting some time dates exact. It's expensive. And unfortunately, every year we wait, it gets more expensive. But our aim is really to just say, you know what? God owns, let's see, how did Cal say it? God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and we just need to borrow a couple heifers. And so I think what Cal was a great guy. He used to be a pastor at the church, and he was right. Like, really, this is about prayer. You're going to be hearing about our prayer teams. You're going to hear about these things. And guys, I really do believe when our prayer teams are launching, community will grow, salvations will begin. The financial need that we may have to see that movement occur, I believe it's already available. It's just a matter of asking for it. It's a matter of seeing God want to work and use us. But I think that as we see disciples made and we see community connected, you're going to see that. In fact, this redevelopment of community, it will occur in a few different ways. But again, like I keep saying, what's going on here? I get blank slides. It occurs through us. And so I want to invite Justin up. He's got our Live Award. He's going to present the last one here. And just welcome Justin. Hi, Justin.
At least Nick showed me turn it on first. What's fun being here as I look out is I get the privilege to oversee a lot of our discipleship and then also work with a great staff team with Brent and Steven. So a lot of you here, I know, touch one of those ministries. And so I'm just grateful because even though we get to recognize one person, you guys, as you love on people, as you serve week to week, that makes Olive Branch who it is. We say that, but it is so true. As you guys love on a new couple who's here, or you're serving in kids ministry and loving on a kid, that makes such a huge difference. And so whatever it is, whether it's small or big, your role, all of them matter. And so I just appreciate you guys stepping up and being faithful in that. I get to give the Live Award, though. And, there's a lot of you that could easily have won this because I feel like there's so many here that have stepped up and served in a lot of ways. But I thought of one person in particular over this last year who's really jumped up in lots of big ways. He's someone who's stepped in over the last year and a half to lead in our men's ministry area. He's stepped in to lead our events and really coordinate those and work with the people there. He's worked with his wife, serving on our starting point team too. And part of what I love is there's a great example earlier this year where they had somebody in their group going through just some really hard relational stuff, and him and his wife just stepped in to love and to pray and to just try and be there. Not just to point them to Christ and help them draw closer, but also to just walk with them through a hard season. And so I want to call up Ricky to come on up. And as he comes up, one of the things I appreciate about Ricky more than anything, if you guys haven't gotten to spend some time with him, is his heart more than anything is to get to know the Lord and help others get to know him too. And that's what I appreciate you more than anything, Ricky.
Thank you. Love you, bro. Enjoy. The wonder and the joy is to get to thank you guys, even up from here. And so when we talk about our coming year and we talk about this idea of community, there's a couple pieces. We've got some big staff changes that we kind of want to let you guys know about because staff is critical to community. Staff is the original community. It starts in the staff. And so it started this year when Gina came up to me and said, hey, I want to spend time with my grandkids. It's ready. God's releasing me. And so Gina was retiring this year, as you guys have heard. And we want to say thank you, Gina, for all the service you've given to the church. And she's been carrying stuff. So she gets a chance to go enjoy her grandkids. This is really cool. She's not going anywhere. She's going to be here, but she is not going to be doing the staff stuff. So that's cool. And she's going to have her Christmas back. So yeah, Bob is clapping and excited. And then second is that we have the staff, Gina pulled the plug. And so we also are going to be honoring pretty soon, Gene. Gene is going to be actually retiring too, and we are so gonna miss you, but we love all that you've done for Olive Branch and poured into. So we want to say thank you as well to you too today. And so there's some big spots to fill, and I didn't want to say pants because I didn't know how that was going to work. So shoes. Still don't know how that's going to work. Okay, because we're filling it. So the thing is that, we also are going to be saying we love you to Nick, and he's going to be stepping into a role. Hopefully, we're praying that he finds a place out near where they've moved, where his wife works, so he can do ministry in that same zone. And he's been super faithful and doing a lot of great stuff for us. But he's going to be stepping aside because we got to kind of help fill Gina's slot up with kind of coverage of both. And that's where Matt Furby stepped on. And so he's here. He's been working. He's been training up. He's been engaging and kind of starting to connect, and Gina's slowly handing that baton over so that we can keep moving. Nick's handing that baton over so we can keep moving, and that helps us focus in and kind of jet forward. And what I really am excited about in that is Matt does bring many, many years of experience as well behind him, and you get some fresh ideas, and he's already been given, and he's got a speech degree, so I'm asking him for help. So this is going to be great, and I'm just excited for all that it's going to bring to the whole team. Because really the big goal is that we need a team that's able to help you guys. Our aim is to continue to pour into our membership and our leadership, and to see a team developed in such a way that we call it the leadership pipeline, leadership development, and that we're all involved in a team at some level. And what happens is, as this goes together, it enables us to kind of, you ever gotten on a team and you're kind of like, what am I supposed to do? Like, who do I call? Where do I go? When there's a feeling that you can get when you're stepping into a team that you're going like, what's the order, and who do I ask if I got a problem? And we're rectifying and trying to fix that through this. And there's training at each level that we'll be going through, and we're seeing and calling you guys into leadership and into development of that leadership. We really believe that as you step in and use your giftedness in leadership and administration, these things, what happens is it opens the door for you to continue to connect with more and more community. When that community begins to develop and online begins to focus in, they start connecting, then we've got a team who's available to help them find their way into the presence of human beings at church. The greeting team then steps in and invites them in. The discipleship team is ready to connect with the connections team. And the beauty then is that staff is able to then serve and care and run under you, to pray for you, to empower you, to enable you, to take your visions and dreams that God may pour into you, and God willing, begin to see that impact flow from there. But it really is about us working together. And so as that leadership training develops and moves forward, we see the opportunity for community to expand, because then we add on to the idea that we're looking at these community events. Now, you saw we're doing stuff after service, third service, a little bit more often. And that's on purpose. And that's because we're trying to help those people who are connecting online but not connecting in person to actually have a chance to go, oh man, I missed out on something. I want to be there to be a part of the community. I want to be there to be a part of what's going on. I need prayer. I need connection. And so it gives us an excuse to let people know, hey, we're doing something. We would love to have you here. And we're putting some focus and aim into that. Now, all these cases, whether it's the school, you can check out all this in the budget. And the budget is in the back, and I have to present this because this is what you guys as members are going to be voting on. So by looking through this, you're going to have some questions, and the way we're going to do that is please come talk to Eric, come talk to me, come talk to the elders, and we are willing and ready to receive those questions, try to answer them as best as we can. And really, some of it's input, some of it may just be clarification. Some of it may be, hey, this is how that fits into where the vision's going. And so we invite you guys to kind of look through that, ensure that you're seeing those pieces and getting what's going on. And we're just celebrating what God has been doing and then looking forward to where he is leading us. But it really comes down to this picture. Anybody remember these things? It's called a jungle gym. I love jungle gyms. And when I was a kid growing up here in Corona, the jungle gyms were always put over DG. They just put DG on the ground, and that was good. There was no grass under the jungle gym. So it was really nice on your knees. But it was really great in the summer heat too, right? Burn your hands. But what was crazy is, what is that? Like some of them look like legitimate scaffolding when we were looking at pictures. But actually, what is it? That's a spaceship. Oh, no, it's an igloo. Oh, no, that is a fortress that we have to fight to get into. No, it's a castle. It's definitely a castle. No, it's a giant alien eating us. And I can tell you all the different thoughts that I had as a kid. It's actually what a church is. Vision is just the jungle gym that we set up. But it's only what you do on it and in it that makes it real. And honestly, as I believe that we want to see disciples who make disciples, that we can be that premier discipleship church, we can see the gospel come to every single home in the Temescal Valley. But that's if we're willing to jump on the scaffolding. That's if we're willing to jump on the boat. It's going to be a challenge to each one of us. And I want to encourage you to consider what part of that challenge you're taking up. Who's that neighbor? Who's that? When that's announced, you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to invite my small group to get on board on this one. I want to move up in the leadership pipeline this year. I would love to just kind of use my organizational skills and really help. I'm going to be on that prayer team. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. But you as members are already really busy. You're already serving. And look, if you all end up being the only ones, you're going to burn out. I will invite you to invite everyone around you, your friends and those around you, to come join, be a part of the vision, be a part of the team. I would love everyone at the end of this year in this room to at least say, I have somebody that I poured into, and they know Christ better because I got to spend time with them. And then next year when we meet, we know that there's more in here ready to go to do the same thing, because every year we just keep saying, I poured into them, they poured into them, and I poured into somebody else. I knocked on this many doors, and 5 people are coming to church because we walked these neighborhoods. it is a beautiful thing when we just kind of go like, okay, God, where do you want me to jump on? And that's really what our elders are going to come pray over us with. And so I'm going to invite Rick and Scott to come on up and pray over you guys, that we would be ready and willing to go where the Lord leads us. Did somebody eat the microphone? Where'd it go? Oh, it's over there. Okay.
Wow. I don't know about you, but it's exciting. And no place I'd rather be than this church. And but as we pray, let's just pray. Heavenly Father, you've given us an awesome vision, Lord. Father, you love people. And you love our neighbors and you love our friends. And Lord, you want us to be equipped to bring the good news of your Son, Jesus Christ, to everyone, every person we come in contact with. And so, Lord, I pray that you will work with the staff, you will work with everyone here in this room, Lord, and we take that challenge and we would find somebody that we could pour into, Lord, because the job is bigger than us. And Lord, eternity is at stake, their eternal lives. And so, Lord, I pray that as we go, that we would be excited about what you're going to do in these next days. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, guys, and feel free to get up, say hi to somebody, or hurry home. Either way that you need to do, but we're glad you were here, and may God bless you guys as you go. And if you have questions, feel free, come connect. Have a great day.